Hello everyone and welcome to the National Indoor Stadium in Beijing. It's semifinals day in the Para Ice Hockey Tournament at Beijing 2022. Canada against the Republic of Korea. First up in the semifinal round, the Canadians coming off of a 6-0 win over Korea in their previous game in this tournament. It was 3 days ago when they last hit the ice, the South Koreans having to go through the qualifying finals round, defeating Italy 4-0 to gain this rematch against Canada. And the real question in this building right now, can the Koreans do better against Canada second time around?
Well, not only second time around, but 35th time around. Team Korea has never beaten Team Canada in 35 international games. And most recently, last fall, they played in a four-game set, and Canada won all of the games. And but Korea, I think, maybe needs to keep the game close as long as possible. They need to get great goaltending, and that's an interesting thing too. We'll get to that story in a moment, but they're not using the goaltender we thought they would use, and that could play into the story as well.
Yes, Choi Hyuk-jun getting the starts for the Koreans. You see, they've only won one of their 3 games here in Beijing. They've talked a lot about how their major task is to defend well in this game. They have struggled offensively, though, as well in the Group A games they played against the USA and Canada. Only 1 goal, only 7 shots on goal. And that's something they obviously have to improve here.
Yeah, you certainly aren't going to win a lot of games, especially against Dominic Larocque on the other end of the ice, who was voted the best goaltender at the last 2 World Championships. If you're not going to get shots on him, quality shots, you're not going to score.
Our officiating crew, Jakob Grumsen, the Danish referee. He's been in charge of, I think, 4 games now in this tournament. David Notsegger and Jan Vanek, experienced linesmen, not just in para hockey, but in non-disabled hockey. You see the Canadian roster here, Larocque in goal and loads of experience up and down the roster.
Yeah, on defense, number 23, Liam Hickey, jumps out because he's been playing forward the first 2 games in the tournament. However, he was voted best defenseman at the last World Championships. So it's an easy switch for him to slide back on the blue line. Also, because there's only 2 defense pairs, that means he's on the ice every other shift. Could have a big factor for Ken Babby's team.
Head coach since the 2014-2015 season, Ken Babby for Team Canada. As for the Koreans, we mentioned the goaltending change. It's not Lee Jae-woong, it's Choi Hyuk-jun. He's come on in relief of Lee in all 3 games in this tournament, getting his first start here today.
And this is going to be really interesting because, you know, you think of Korea in this level of hockey, you think of Lee Jae-woong in net making dozens of saves per game, and all of a sudden Han Min-soo decides we're going to go with the other guy and see if he has a better luck.
Well, they have at least gotten some offense against the Italians. 2 goals for Jang Dong-shin, a goal and an assist for Jung Seung-hwan, who for my money has been the best looking offensive player for Korea in the tournament. But Dominic Larocque is a rock at the Canadian back, and it's going to be very difficult for the Koreans to beat him. And maybe Choi at the other end expects to see most of the rubber in this contest.
Yeah, those games they played last fall in November in Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, Canada won all 4 by a combined score of 31-1. So that does give you a sense of the difficulty that Korea has in scoring. It's not just against Canada in this whole tournament. Their first real outburst was in the qualifying game where they scored 4 times against Italy, and one of those was into an empty net. Can they do it against this tough Canadian team? That's the question. Can Canada repeat their dominating performance in the preliminary round? That's the other question.
Well, all the questions soon to be answered at the National Indoor Stadium. Both teams ready for the opening face-off in this first semifinal. Canada in red, the Republic of Korea in white. The Canadians winning the opening face-off, and popping the puck in deep is Liam Hickey. He retreats that defensive position. It'll be interesting to see exactly how well he transitions from attack to defense for this game. Jung Seung-hwan defensively for Korea, but he's crunched by Ben Delaney's sled. Koreans can't clear. That's Jang Dong-shin, far side of the ice, spinning around in support of him. Choi Si-woo and the Koreans able to knock the puck down into the Canadian zone.
Adam Dixon leading the tournament in, or at least the Team Canada in minutes played, 27 minutes. You'll see him right now touching the puck.
Dixon in his 4th Paralympic Games. 10 career goals in Paralympic hockey for the defenseman, but the Canadians ice the puck here. As you see Ken Babby, we saw him walking around the concourse only about 15 minutes before the opening faceoff, trying to stay away from his team, letting them stay as loose as possible. And the Canadians facing a defensive zone draw here to the right of Dominic Larocque.
It's one of these goalies that you just don't see net behind. You just see goalie equipment.
He's got that front pad along the ice. Actually only switched to become a goaltender after the Sochi Paralympic Games. So this is his 3rd Paralympic tournament in goal, or his 2nd, I should say, after previously playing as a skater.
He was pretty good as a skater, too.
Center ice, nice pass to McGregor, the Canadian captain, but he's bumped at the line. Support from Greg Westlake. He'll shoot from distance. The pad save made by Choi. Rebound was loose, but swiped down the ice, and that might just come on target. So no icing. Right onto Larocque. He will stick handle, just hold. Push the pass far side, a little bit too far for Tyrone Henry. Kim Young-sung couldn't clear the puck far up the ice. The Canadians quickly back in, but the pass just rolling away from McGregor. Jostled in the near side boards by Kim. Now Robbie Armstrong. Lavin looking for the pass between the rings. It's Armstrong now. He shoots high, but too high over the crossbar. Lavin into the far corner. Away from Jung Seung Hwan. Wraps around to the near side boards, and Armstrong again. Pinching in Westlake into the corner against his opposite number 12. Kim Young-sung in his 3rd Paralympic tournament. Now McGregor, nifty little drop pass for Armstrong. Shoves far side for Henry. Henry from distance, but that deflected off the twig of Choi Kwang-hyuk defensively for the Koreans. Just under 2.5 minutes gone in the first period, and the Koreans appear to have iced the puck for the first time, as racing back was Henry. Attack zone draw for the Canadians coming up in a moment.
Well, Ken Babby has to be pretty happy with his team and their start so far in the game. That was McGregor, did a nice job to get the feed across to Westlake. Greg Westlake not only is a talented athlete, but he's actually worked in broadcasting on the Canadian side for the Summer Games.
And he, the 2nd leading career Paralympic goal scorer for Canada in this game right now. He's got 15 goals in his 4 previous tournaments before this one. Billy Bridges leading the side with 25 goals in his 6th Paralympic Games, as that shot fired well wide. Choi also has the front pad along the ice in goal, as puck played back to Dixon. Nicely slid along to Hickey. Hickey in front, the save made, and the hole by Choi. Nice work by Choi Hyuk-jun there. The rebound control so important with the Canadians on the prowl.
Well, every man on that Canadian rush is a dangerous player, including James Dunn, who had a hat trick earlier in the tournament, and against this very team, in fact. And he's literally right there lurking. If that puck comes free, remember, he can follow the puck into the crease. He can't be there before the puck arrives.
James Dunn had 3 goals and an assist in the 6-0 win against the Republic of Korea in their 2nd of only 2 Group A games. As the puck centered in front, poking is Antoine Lehoux on the doorstep. It's still free, but pops out to Ryu Ji-hyun, and he's able to bank to center ice. Armstrong fires right back in, but a delayed offside, so Garrett Riley had to clear the Korean zone. Played forward toward the Korean captain, Jang Jong-ho. Batted just beyond the Korean blue line. Cho Byung-shok loses out, though. There's Riley penetrating left wing into the Korean ends. And the first penalty of the game coming up. It's going to be on Jang Dong-shin as the Koreans touch up with 11:14 left in the first. 5-on-4 skating coming up for the Canadians.
This will be their 5th power play of the tournament. They are 1 for 4 in the first couple of games. And Korea is 69% on its penalty kill. They have killed off 9 out of 14. So a real opportunity here for the Canadians to break the seal on the Korean net.
Jang Dong-shin, the former wheelchair fencer, like his wife. And met in the world of Paralympic fencing. And he will watch on and hope that his team can get back to 5-a-side without the Canadians scoring a power play goal. Right point McGregor shifts focus of the attack far side. Now gets it back. Top of the rings, moved along by Hickey. Hickey to Billy Bridges. And the shot off the crossbar and out of play. That was McGregor, and that was so close to the opening goal of this game.
Canada essentially using 5 forwards out here. Hickey playing defense in this game, but he's got an offensive mindset. McGregor, who's the captain, always plays or often plays the point on the power play. So that's full court press for the Canadians in the offensive zone anyway.
Liam Hickey waiting outside the blue line to see how the face-off draw goes. It's won by the Canadians. And a quick chance forward. Again, it's Armstrong, and this time I think just off the blocker of Choi Hyuk-jun. Canadians still another effort from Hickey off the side of the net, rippling the twine. Far corner now, Bridges. Plays back up to Hickey, quickly back to the point. Hickey in that left side face-off ring and just shoved in front, and Choi will cover. But you see the menace of this Canadian power play already.
Liam Hickey is just such a talented player. Has played at the Paralympic Games in wheelchair basketball. Everybody wants him. He's from St. John's, Newfoundland. And he's just got so much skill, and he didn't get to play much. There's McGregor's chance. Hickey didn't get to play much in the earlier game against Korea because of a game misconduct, but they'd like to keep him out here for the full 45 minutes if they could.
It was a pretty soft penalty, to be honest. He was whistled for a 5-minute major plus a 20-minute game misconduct. Here's Hickey again trying to shoot and score, but it's trapped right underneath the Korean sled and player. As crumpling in a heap was Cho Byung-shok, and able to get the whistle with still a full minute remaining in the Canadian 5-on-4.
That's the power play that never ends, it feels like.
Well, they've had 3 shots on goal already, 5 for the game, and 3 in this first minute of power play action. Another draw to the left of Choi Hyuk-jun, who took a 10-year break from international competition between 2011 and 2021. Played in the Vancouver tournament on Canadian home soil. Is that shot another blocker save? Very nicely done by Choi. But still the Canadians, it's Bridges. Billy Bridges patiently, the pass to Hickey, but the interception falls kindly for Bridges, slides far side for Hickey to pick up off the half wall. Played in front, the tip just goes wide to the corner. Decent effort there. Cruising in front was Greg Westlake for Canada. Ryu Ji-hyun positions his sled well to divert Dunn wide of the target. 21 seconds left in the 5-on-4. Still Canada in possession. Chance developing the shot. Good save again by Choi, and a quick cover as well. Once again, blocking that puck right down in front of himself so he could get the mitt firmly on the ice.
And there you get a good look at Liam Hickey after pretty much a 2-minute power play shift and quarterbacking things very well. There you'll see him take the pass. Look, he kind of assesses, waits, and then rips a shot. And I'm getting a sense now that Han Min-soo, the coach of South Korea, knew what he was doing by putting Choi Hyuk-jun in net.
49-year-old Choi Hyuk-jun. There's the interesting drop pass to Armstrong. Ready to come out of his penalty box is Jang Dong-shin. We skate 5-a-side once more with 9:10 left in the first. Centering effort was impeded by Cho Young-jae, but the follow-up shot high by Anton Jacobs-Webb of Canada. Still Armstrong trying to find the right passing angle. He pivots toward the near side corner, but drops off behind the net. Stuff attempt, it comes through the blue paint, and fortunately for the Koreans, it ricocheted off Cho below the goal line and not into the Korean net. Tangle there with Jacobs-Webb and Cho. Back to Bridges' left point. He's not. Beg your pardon, that's Antoine Lehoux, this third Canadian line on the ice. And finally, the Koreans can try to come forward. Outlet near side. Touched onward by Lee Jong-kyung. He's racing against Armstrong. Did well. Bump on Armstrong as well from Choi Si-woo. Canadians, though, should regain possession, and they do. The pass forward, touched on by Jacobs-Webb, a little bit behind Lehoux. Should be able to dump in, though, with 8:07 left in the first period.
About 7 minutes into this game, the puck's been in the Canadian end for about 45 seconds.
Part of that down to the power play, but part of that down to the skill and superiority, really, of Canada in most facets of this game. Although Choi Hyuk-jun keeps playing like this, he might keep the Koreans into where they can sneak a goal and cause some problems there. The chance didn't quite materialize, and the puck dumped in by Jang. But the Koreans would have been offside, so they must have had to clear the Canadian zone, as Canada now trying to resume the attack, but the pass a little bit too far, and that should be icing, as backtracking was Kim Young-sung. With 7:29 left in the first period, the Koreans just about hanging in there against Canada. Our score is still 0-0, but the Canadians very much in the ascendancy.
The third line for Canada came awfully close. And we're getting a good look there at Liam Hickey. I love this decision to move him up to defense, because he's had more involvement in this game than he did in either of the first two games, just simply because the rhythm of the game. He's out every other shift.
Westlake the pass far side, not quite connecting cleanly. Lavin shoves onward. Retreating is Jang. Jang Dong-shin around to the near side corner, a little bit too firm. Canadians able to pick the puck up. The shot by Lavin was going wide, but Choi got a mitt on it anyway. Lavin again, centering blindly. Someone's going to latch on. It's Hickey. Hickey maneuvering toward the left side against Choi Kwang-hyuk. Drops the puck off. Puck slid in front, but it was diverted off of a Korean stick below the goal line, and Choi again trying to knock down the ice, and he does so, but that's going to be icing this time against the Koreans. So still waiting for the first break in play in this game. 6:40 now left in the opening stanza.
So the team in red, Team Canada, really has dominated, and they continue to try to roll their lines other than on the power play. Now they got the Bridges, Delaney, Dunn line back on the ice. So it just doesn't stop if you're Korea. You got to defend and defend all night long.
That's what they knew they had to do, and a chance in front, and that's just swiped wide by Robbie Armstrong. Armstrong with 4 career Paralympic goals. Spun around in his own corner. Jang, the Korean captain again, trying to keep the Canadian attack bottled up, but there's Dunn swooping in. Dunn trying to wrap around, plays across the crease, unable to get a touch. Delaney. Park Sang-hyun fell down, able to maneuver to the far side the puck, but picking up his Bridges. Bridges shoots firm, slap shot, stopped by Choi again. At the 9th shot on target in the first period from Canada. Still attack zone time for Henry and the Canadians. The pass a little bit away from Bridges. I suppose the Koreans will consider themselves happy with the start, given that it's still 0-0 as that outlet pass looking for Ryu. We have a hand pass signaled with 5:40 left in the first period. Finally, a little breather for the Koreans in defense. They're grimly hanging on, but still no score.
Billy Bridges and his line mates continuing to generate offense. There was Dunn's chance, and then Delaney, just if it was on the ice, it's in. He almost batted it out of the air. You mentioned earlier, there was the defenseman Armstrong. The Canadians seamlessly have the defenseman jumping in on the rush, and on that play, Bridges just swung back to defense. So as soon as they sense the defenseman moving in, they slide back. What a start for Choi Hyuk-jun. He has really been solid, and very few holes, none so far. 9 shots, 9 saves, no shots yet on Dominic Larocque, and he's very cerebral in the Canadian net.
See Han-Min Soo and Ken Babby, the 2 head coaches for both sides. Wonder which one is the happier, the way this game has gone thus far.
I know which one. It's got to be Han-Min Soo.
No goals yet at the National Indoor Stadium, the first semifinal of the Para Ice Hockey Tournament. Choi Hyuk-jun had played 35 minutes in the tournament before today and recorded 13 saves. He's already got 9 saves in less than 10 minutes in this game. The Canadians flipping the puck forward. Dixon far side. Oh, ahead of steam here for Hickey. Hickey at the races. Hickey looking to center the puck, and into the net it goes. They score! Puck centered, and Choi, for once, unable to stop the puck. We're going to have a video review, but as things stand, it's 1-0 for Canada.
It's the speed of Liam Hickey transitioning from defense to offense, blazing up the left wing. The goaltender knows that McGregor's coming in. Who does this go off of? There's the shot. Oh, it's a goal. It went off of the Korean player and in the net.
It's Lee Jong-kyung, I think, off of his sled. Blade underneath. Watch the overhead shot. This will be the good look. I think it's McGregor closest to the cage, but it's not off of him. There you see, you called it. Off of Lee Jong-kyung, and that's surely going to stand as a good goal.
So that is what referee Jacob Grumson from Denmark is looking at, and it won't take him long.
Just a quick look, helmet back on, and if he points to center ice, that means it's 1-0. And that means it's 1-0. So unfortunate for Lee, there are no own goals in any form of ice hockey, and that means, although the puck last went in off of Lee, it will be a Canadian goal. Waiting to see the confirmation of who it's credited to. But the pass slid in front by Hickey, and so he gets credit. The assist to Dixon and McGregor at the 9:48 mark of the first. Troy playing so well, and just the puck luck deserting him as the Canadians finally take a deserved 1-0 lead.
Second goal of the tournament for Hickey, and here he goes again.
Drops the puck off, and it was stolen by the Koreans, so it's swatted onward by Jung. The most impressive offensive player in the tournament. He scored the one goal for the Koreans against the USA in their 9-1 reverse. First game of the tournament as Lavin shoots, and Choi was grasping. That puck had been on target. It might well have snuck in for 2-0, but instead the Koreans come back the other way.
Hickey is a little bit like a really great NHL defenseman from another era named Bobby Orr, where he can jump right in on offense and then come right back and be the man who steals the puck defensively.
Well, he reminds me of another Chinese skater, I should say. Is that glove save made on the high shot from Greg Westlake? Good effort from him, but a good glove stop from Choi Hyuk-jun.
Yeah, that didn't miss by much, did it, on the Lavin chance? And Westlake. It just amazes me how well all the players shoot. There used to be a time when a player like Billy Bridges was in maybe a minority of the players who could shoot like a cannon, but now almost all of them have great shots.
Para ice hockey has become a much more vertical game than it used to be. You go back and look at, say, the opening Paralympic tournament in Lillehammer back in 1994. The puck was almost always right on the deck.
You're right.
But nowadays, it's increasingly resembling non-disabled hockey in all the best possible ways. The talent level has increased.
Sticks, technology.
Yeah, you can get more of a curve on the stick, helping the players elevate the puck more easily.
Billy Bridges was talking about his first sled weighing something like 45 pounds, and now they're down to just a few.
Well, right now, the Koreans have the weight of the world on their shoulders. They trail by 1-0, still in the first period in this first Para Ice Hockey semifinal.
Korea's going to get a power play here. Antoine Lahou from Thetford Mines, Quebec, who's playing in his second game of the tournament, is going to be in the box. I don't know what he did here, but the referee didn't like it. It was such tight quarters, it was hard to tell.
It looked a little bit harsh to me. But Lahou, who had his right leg crushed in a bus accident on his way to a Remembrance Day ceremony when he was serving in the Canadian Army Reserves.
Wow.
He, unfortunately, will be sidelined for 2 minutes as the Koreans can go on the power play. 0 for 8 thus far in the tournament. They were 0 for 13 at the World Championship last year, so not necessarily a strength for them. but obviously you'd rather be skating 5-on-4 than 5-on-5.
Well, if you've been around hockey for a long time, you know that often when they have these timeout situations, the assistant coaches have the specific instructions for the players. It's not always the head coach.
The Canadians shorthanded for the first time in this semifinal. They win the draw off the penalty by Antoine Lehoux. Maybe a shorthanded opportunity. James Dunn trying to barrel his way forward, but in the way was Jang Dong-shin, who's been penalized himself for holding. He reacted as though he couldn't believe that call, but the Korean power play lasting a total of 9 seconds, and we're not going to skate for nearly 2 minutes, 4-on-4.
Well, you be the judge. What does he do there? Does he hold enough? Yeah, maybe he does.
Can understand why it was called, certainly. Jang, 46-year-old. From Gangwon Province, one of the many Gangwon Province players in the Korean national team.
One player to watch for Korea out here right now is number 9, Choi. He's pretty speedy.
So that shot, another Choi Hyuk-jun, able to make a body save and trap the puck against his chest. But Choi Si-woo, nicknamed Chiakson Wild Pig. He, formerly a wheelchair rugby standout at national level for Korea. As you see that save again by Choi Hyuk-jun. Some of the Korean nicknames are really quite something. We'll try and cover a few more of them as the game goes on. But the Canadians right now 4-on-4 trying to generate some offense. They still retain possession. Great stick handling. Cramped quarters by Armstrong. And then the shot fired wider by McGregor, I should say. As Hickey swooping in again. Not for the first time. He's going to try and go around the far side. Shooting, but that off the side of the post, I think. Certainly off the side of the net. But the pressure continues to tell at the Korean end of the ice. Probably not going to like all this open space, but they do come forward. That's a decent look near side towards Jung, but slightly away from him, so he'd only knock on. Good job, though, by Lee Jong-kyung coming in deep. He's hit hard by the sled of Hickey, and just offside the Koreans. Whistle does blow with 2.5 minutes left in the period and with 59 seconds left of 4-on-4 skating.
So Liam Hickey just continues to have an impact on this game offensively. And then he's so fast that at that moment he can immediately go back on defense and catch up if need be.
Interesting to see if we had just a straight speed race between the skaters in this tournament. I was trying to mention Shen Yifeng for China, who has impressed so much with his pace. Hasn't yet played against the Americans or the Canadians, and just how he would stack up against the best skaters for the top 2 teams in the world remains to be seen. We'll be looking forward to his semifinal and China's against the United States. As right now the Canadians breaking out through center ice. Forward comes Delaney. Then Delaney, the shot that's deflected high off the glass and pops down to Ryu Ji-hyun.
Delaney is such a versatile player. He can do it on any line in any situation.
Armstrong, that's a nice little touch pass. The shot was low, and the pad save from Choi. That time off of Bridges with the shot. Delaney again. Tangled with Cho Byung-shok behind the net. Into the final minute and a half of the period, the Canadian very short power play is underway, but the shot, they score! Oh, how about that effort?
Billy.
Right under the crossbar, it is Billy Bridges, and it is now 2-0 for Canada.
Billy Bridges, and he just shoots the puck so hard and so high. Right here, gets it on a stick, maybe waited for a bit of a screen. And he doesn't look at the net, does he?
The great ones never do. They don't have to anyway. He knows precisely where the height of the crossbar is, exactly 4 feet off the ground, and that was about 3.98 feet off the ground, pinging off the underside of the crossbar. I know we're supposed to use metric measurements in Olympic broadcasting, but it is a 6x4 foot net, so I think the metric equivalents would be a little bit odd to relate, as A lot of this game is measured in the Imperial system, but certainly measuring Billy Bridges' 26th career Paralympic goal, the one assist to Ben Delaney at the 13:37 mark. And the Canadians now 2-0 in front, despite the best efforts of Choi Hyuk-jun in the Korean nets. And can the Koreans regain their equilibrium and get some shots on goal? It's 15-0 in shots for Canada thus far. That outlet pass racing on Jung, trying to negate the icing. He does. And get below the goal line first ahead of Adam Dixon. But Dixon, calm defending, plays the puck to a position of safety near side boards. Koreans' long effort there from Cho Young-jae. That was off of a Canadian glove, and it's played now by Hickey. Retreating so the Canadians can try and come forward. 37 seconds left in the first. McGregor, he was dispossessed well by the back-checking Lee Jong-kyun. And a glimpse of a Korean attack, but snuffing out that threat was Greg Westlake. And quickly forward, Hickey once more. Hickey drops off from McGregor. McGregor in space, he scores! Tyler McGregor! More pinpoint shooting. It's McGregor's 10th career Paralympic goal, and it's 3-0 for Canada.
Another high shot, and interesting because earlier in the game, Choi Hyuk-jun was stopping these high ones, but just too many, too much high quality, in too close. This time he beats him high on the blocker side. There's just no defense of that.
And Choi's been so good with that blocker in this game thus far, but when you shoot it so close to the corner and so high off the ice, it's going to be difficult for any goaltender in the world to make a stop like that. McGregor from Hickey and Westlake. 18.3 seconds left, so 14:41 the official time of that goal. And Korea, having defended so stoutly in the first 10 minutes of the game, Hickey, Bridges, and McGregor tickling the twine, and it's hard to see a route back into the contest from here.
I was thinking with about 5 minutes or so, 5.5 to go in the period, if Korea could get to the dressing room scoreless, they would start to feel some confidence, and then all of a sudden it goes the other direction in a hurry with Hickey, then Bridges, then McGregor, each scoring his second of the tournament. Bridges with that second middle goal.
There's a hand pass called there against the Koreans, so a neutral zone draw coming up with 5.5 to go. But there's the shot from McGregor, a London, Ontario-born resident of Toronto now, as the Canadians win the face-off draw, and that will do it for the opening period. The Koreans impressing in defense for so long, but the Canadian tide eventually engulfing Choi Hyuk-jun in the Korean net. The goals for Liam Hickey, Billy Bridges, and Tyler McGregor, giving Canada a 3-0 first intermission lead.
Korea would have to match its entire tournament output just to tie this game in terms of even strength goals.
And that tells its own story. The Koreans yet to record a shot on target. 16 shots onto Choi Hyuk-jun. And the Korean supporters, well, you can't blame them for trying to stretch out a little bit here as the Canadians flexing their muscles. They lead the first semifinal at the Para Ice Hockey Tournament in Beijing by 3-0 over the Republic of Korea. There is the tale of the statistical tape from the first 15 minutes at the National Indoor Stadium in Beijing. 16 shots to nothing for Canada. 1 out of 2 on the power play. The Koreans only a 9-second power play after Jang Dong-shin committed the penalty to curtail that 5-on-4 effort. So the Canadians dominating. It took them a while to get on the scoreboard, but it is a 3-0 advantage at the end of 15 minutes of para ice hockey in this first Paralympic semifinal.
Let's look at some of the highlights of the opening period. It was pretty much all Canada. Started early and often with the shots. There's Greg Westlake. Westlake was the captain of this team in Pyeongchang. Now in a support role, but still an important role. Huge contribution by Liam Hickey in this game. The defense continues to pressure. That was Armstrong. Canada just buzzing around the net of Choi Hyuk-jun the whole games, the whole first period. Took a while to get rewarded. They kept it at it. They kept pushing, driving around that blue paint. And then finally, Liam Hickey, starting from his own end. Eventually will work the puck up the ice. Not yet, but you'll see it. Here's James Dunn again making an offensive play. It was just territorially, it was 80+% for Canada in the Korean zone. And that was the first goal. Hickey took it from his own end, banks it off the sled of the Korean player into the net, and it was 1-0 Canada. And they just kept on coming. Hickey again, this time short side of the miss. Get another look at it. See how well he handles his sled. There's some more push from Armstrong on the blue line. And then Bridges was one of his shots. Delaney set him up for that one, and he made no mistake about it. All-time leading scorer in the Paralympic Games. Billy Bridges adding to his numbers. And then Tyler McGregor said, I'll have some of that. Got set up by Hickey and ripping a shot. Top shelf, 3-0 Canada after one period of play here in the semifinal.
A hazy day outside the National Indoor Stadium. On the left side of your screen there, the ice cube just behind our graphic on the screen, and of course the famous Bird's Nest Stadium where the closing ceremony will be held just a few days from now. But nothing hazy about the forecast for Team Canada. Inside the building right now, the Canadians with the 3 goals in the final 5 minutes and 12 seconds of the first period. Liam Hickey, Billy Bridges, and Tyler McGregor giving them the 3-0 advantage in this first para-ice hockey semifinal against the Republic of Korea.
Liam Hickey started the scoring 9:48 into the period. Up until then, Korea kind of doing what they had hoped to do. Keep the game scoreless. Wait for a mistake. Jump on the mistake. Get great goaltending. And then sort of the floodgates opened. Hickey and then Bridges scored 3 minutes after that. And then McGregor scored a couple minutes after that. And all of a sudden, the team in red looks to be firmly in control. And not giving up a single shot.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for your goalie to be tested if he never has to see any rubber. The Canadians, their flags flying in the National Indoor Stadium. We actually have quite a decent crowd of Chinese supporters on the far side of the ice, and where the media and athletes and other people with credentials in the building are located. Basically, the stadium divided into 2 halves, one inside the COVID bubble and one on the outside, although all the visiting fans and dignitaries and everyone on the far side of the building still has to undergo COVID testing and promise to adhere to certain behavioral standards and the like. So they have had to go through a little bit of hassle to be involved in this tournament, and they have seen certainly a Canadian spectacle on the ice thus far in this game.
And there is Billy Bridges, the 6-time Paralympian. I believe this is his 250th career game, which is incredible. And 197 career goals, not necessarily all of the Paralympics, but in terms of playing for his country, caps, if you will.
And there's no sense that he's going to be retiring anytime soon. I think Greg Westlake has stated that this will be his final Olympic Games, or Paralympic Games, I should say, at the age of 35. But Bridges, he's 37. He could keep going until Milano Cortina in 4 years' time, and maybe even beyond. And he's out at center ice to take this opening face-off in the second period. There he is, the bearded Bridges, with another goal in para-ice hockey at a Paralympic Games for Canada in the first period. Second period underway. The Canadians skating from right to left in their red and black jerseys. The Koreans firing down the length of the ice. Cho Young-jae missing the target for what would have been their first shot on goal. Choi Si-woo, far side, trying to play forward, but the Canadians tying things up well. James Dunn supported by Hickey, and the pass shoved out to center ice, but just beyond Ben Delaney. So back into his own zone goes Jang Dong-shin. He was in the penalty box when the Canadians scored their power play goal. They had 9 seconds of power play time in which to score it, and they somehow managed to through Bridges with the goal that made it 2-0 in the game, as Dunn in deep for Canada. Centers in front, they score! Oh, it's Bridges again on the doorstep, swatting the puck past Choi, and it's 4-0 for Canada now.
Well, that didn't take long, 45 seconds. So Dunn uses his speed, his ingenuity to protect the puck, swing it out front, and you leave Billy Bridges with an open stick like that, being able to just kind of lean on the defensive player. He's got room, he's got space, and he's got enough of the net to hit it. So Bridges from Dunn and Dixon, Dunn and Dunn, maybe in this game.
Very good. Bridges, who has starred at para-athletics, wheelchair basketball, wheelchair tennis. During the course of his career, he was born with spina bifida, and he has transformed himself into an amazing para-athlete and has transformed Canada into one of the para-ice hockey powers in this sport. Can't quite pencil them in for the gold medal game just yet, but it surely seems to be a formality as Choi covers the puck up.
Well, Billy Bridges was a 1-2 punch with Brad Bowden for several Paralympics. And there you see the goal again by Bridges. Brad Bowden retiring in between the last games. He was one of the fastest players in the world for so long. He was another player who transitioned from forward to defense towards the end of his career and allowed him to really impact games.
Canadians on the march yet again. It's McGregor dropping off the pass. The shot, good blocker save there to deny Westlake by Choi Hyuk-jun. But still McGregor around the houses, played toward the front of the nets. Play allowed to continue as McGregor back to the point, and Henry shoots, but that's a relatively straightforward glove save for Choi in the standards of this game thus far. And Henry from distance, but that time Choi gets his mitt on the puck.
Well, the Canadian offensive barrage just continues. Already 3 shots on goal early in this period, with a goal in the mix as well. And you certainly can't blame that man. Choi Hyuk-jun has been good. He's been really good in the Korean net. It's just that there's so many high-quality chances. Can't stop them all.
Face-off draw sticks to the dot, but the Koreans can try to clear, and they do. That might go all the way down the ice for an icing call, and it will. I have to say, I was really impressed by the stick handling from James Dunn to set up that goal for Bridges. He kept that puck under such close control before putting it right onto the tape of Bridges' stick for the one-time finish.
Well, you wonder if Dominic Larocque's going to see the puck anymore. Probably why when it came near him earlier, he handled it. He just wanted to at least have a part of the game.
Puck shot into the far corner as in comes Garrett Riley. Not seen a lot of ice time in the tournament thus far, Riley, as Hickey spins around at the point. Puck poked on by Riley. The shot just goes wide from Jacobs Webb for Canada. Canadians still with attack zone puck possession. There's Jacobs Webb again. Centers, but in the way that time was Jung Seung Hwan. Jung flips out to center ice. Picking up there is Dixon. Late offside would be called as vacating the zone is Riley. Korean outlet pass near side just behind Jang, but he plays onward. Trying to forecheck his Choi far corner. Does well to disrupt the Canadian exit pass. Choi Si-woo drops off, but once again, a Canadian defender in the way. Trying to steam out through center. The puck pushed along to Hickey. Forced to swat the puck far boards. Just rolling away from LaHoo, but Antoine LaHoo back into his own zone. Steadies himself patiently in defense. Canadians in total control of this game right now. Is that outlet a little bit too far for Dunn, but he'll race in deep. Dunn picks up. Dunn into the sliding Jang. The shot to score! Another puck set up beautifully, and it's the hat-trick goal for Billy Bridges. Canada 5, the Republic of Korea nothing.
That third line did so much work that whole shift, and then the first line comes back on the ice with, or at least the line that's been first in this game. At Bridges, then Dunn does all the work behind the net, scoops up the puck, deals the little pass here, and pretty much a replica of the earlier goal. Billy Bridges kind of gives a little nod and says, done it before, plan to do it again.
It's a little shrug, like, yeah, I've been here before. Thank you very much. And Billy Bridges, I mean...
the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, well, you know, we have a slight personal interest here. Sammy Jo Small, the former Canadian women's hockey goaltender, two-time Olympic gold medalist. She was part of our commentary team for the Olympic Games at Beijing 2022. She's watching on at home in Mississauga, Ontario. And has to be loving what she's seeing thus far. Bridges, the hat trick. Is that long pass too long? And it's going to be icing against the Canadians with just a moment's pause in the Canadian onslaught with a score of 5-0 in the second period.
Her husband's a pretty good player, isn't he? He's certainly showing it again and again in his 250th game. There's one more look at the hat trick goal by Billy Bridges. Say, you're going to leave me wide open in front, and these young guys are going to go get me the puck? I'm going to score. Well done.
Face-off draw to the right of Dominic Larocque. He's ready to see some action if the Koreans can pepper his net with any shots. It's now 20-0 in shots on goal for the game. Choi Si, whoa, that's in front, and Larocque does make his first save and pushes the puck into the sled of Armstrong. Forced into the corner by Jung Seung Hwan. Also forechecking Lee Jong Kyung, trying to win the puck back for the Koreans, but they cannot do so. And Delaney's outlet was touched by Dunn. And just onside of the line was Bridges, as the Koreans will get the puck, but Bridges into the near side wall. Just overskated, so the Koreans can escape their zone at least briefly. Approaching the 5-minute mark in the second period as the Canadians again on the attack. Just away from Bridges, far side Zhang loses out. In the slot, the shot, the score! It's Tyler McGregor! The Canadian captain. The same sort of finish as Bridges' hat-trick goal. It's now 6-0 for the Canadians.
Well, McGregor wants in on the fun again, his second of the game. Bridges actually is the one who started that play. He was on his way to the bench when Hickey fed it to McGregor, who snapped it in. Billy Bridges might get an assist, and I'm not sure he was still on the ice. But Dixon will, or at least Hickey will.
They've given the one assist to Liam Hickey thus far. And timeout has been taken by the Koreans, who in their 36th game against Canada now being outscored historically 220 goals to 15. And I think we might see a goaltending change. No real fault of Choi Hyuk-jun for the South Koreans, but we think that Lee Jae-woong is about to come into goal.
He is walking around in behind the bench area. He may not be quite ready yet, but that may be imminent. He has certainly got up from his spot behind the bench.
Lee, the starter for the first 3 games the South Koreans have played in this competition. And Choi coming on in relief of Lee in each of those 3 games, as we see once again Canadian offensive magic, this time from Tyler McGregor.
So far, there's just the one assist by Liam Hickey.
Well, Billy Bridges did get something of a phantom assist, I think, in the previous game between these two teams. So maybe they're just making up for that, as face-off draw to be taken with 10:34 left in the second period. Puck racing back. It's going to be played still by Choi Hyuk-jun in the Korean net for the moment. Banked in deep and unable to reach. Was Choi behind his net. The centering effort sticks below the goal line. The pass blocked by Kim Young-seung. And nice backhand onward by Kim on that occasion. But the Canadians pick up. McGregor shoves toward the front of the net. The slow motion tap in. Yet another goal for Canada. This time it's Greg Westlake, and it's 7-0 for Team Canada.
Yeah, they just keep the pressure on. Westlake kind of sneaks in on what we call the backdoor play right there. Everybody's looking at the front door. He sneaks in the back door and gets the right stick on it. That's a tricky tip because you're redirecting it and shooting it the same motion with your right stick. And Greg Westlake just continues to do what he's been doing throughout his career.
Westlake from McGregor and Hickey. And with less than 20 of the 45 minutes gone in this game, it's already a wider margin than the Canadians achieved in the group stage contest against South Korea.
And they are essentially just rolling their 3 lines in the game. They're not, you know, playing the extra on the top line. They're just rolling the 3 lines, and you get what you get.
And the Canadians are getting what they want at the moment. Remember, it took them almost 10 minutes into the game before they scored their first goal, and they basically scored 7 inside of 10 minutes of action, which is frankly unbelievable. And it shows that they will be a force to be reckoned with, whoever they play in the gold medal game in 2 days' time. As the Koreans, again, just trying to get the puck out to center, but they can't, as Armstrong, the crunching hit. Spilled was Jacobs Webb. Gets the puck back. Jacobs Webb just rolling away from him as trying to support was Lahou. Into the corner. A Canadian penalty now. I think that's Jacobs Webb, but going to be whistled maybe for a hold as Canada touches up. With 9:06 left in the second period. Korean power play coming up. But the Canadian power on display in this semifinal. They lead South Korea by 7-0.
On Jacobs Webb will spend some time in the penalty box. We'll see if maybe that will well, that's what caused it. We'll see if this will give Korea the opportunity they need. I'm not so sure about that. If that was the call, the stick got caught in his sled.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
maybe there was something we missed.
I think that was it. Maybe the, well, the referees will not take the scoreboard situation into account when making their calls, but it's certainly an element of sympathy, it seems, as you see the 7th goal scored by Greg Westlake for Canada.
You mentioned that Greg Westlake was saying that he might retire. I'm going to guess we haven't seen the end of him in the sport of hockey, whether it's this version or the standing kind. He could be a guy who's on a bench, a general manager. He'll be a guy who has hockey in his veins for life.
Looking at Ken Babby on the Canadian bench. He has to be the happiest man in the building, even though he doesn't seem to look like it at times. It's all business, but has to love what his team has done. And we shouldn't overlook that first 10 minutes in which they were being stymied. They were forced to find another gear to get the puck into the net past Choi Hyuk Jun. But find it they did, and now the clearance. The Koreans will start from behind their own goal line with 1:38 left in their power play chance.
The second goaltender is Lee Jae-hwang, is now on the bench and looks like he is getting his gear on, so we may see him sooner rather than later.
Armstrong back behind his net. Ooh, just lost the puck there as Choi Si-woo lost an edge. So the Canadian clearance can be made. Racing back Jang Dong-shin. Puck settled down by the goaltender Choi. And Jang away from the forechecking Delaney. South Korea must already be thinking that the bronze medal game is their destiny with the offside call there with 1:01 left on the penalty to Anton Jacobs Webb.
These two teams met in the semifinal 4 years ago in Pyeongchang, and Canada won that by a very eerily similar score of 8-0. Or at least last year at the World Championships, Canada beat them 8-0, and I believe it was also a similar score in the semifinal in Pyeongchang. Yeah, it was 7-0.
7-0, that's right. 2 goals each for Billy Bridges and Tyler McGregor. So history repeating itself on multiple fronts in that regard as the Koreans over the line, still looking for their first shots. Officially on net. I thought we had a save earlier from the Rock, but that hasn't been credited as a Korean shot as the Canadians clear again. Lavin thinking about swooping toward the puck, but Jung giving a little bit of space. Drops off, and the Koreans try and connect a few passes through the neutral zone. Jung swerves at the line, but onside. Has Jang far side. Jang Dong-shin in support, but the pass a little bit too firm. Picking up his Westlake, and he clears. Bouncing the puck out to center ice. And Lavin able to latch on. Lavin thinking about shooting, but decides instead to just slide the puck in deep and go for a change with the penalty to Jacobs Webb almost over. Korean pass far side. The Koreans, again, they had 17 shots on goal against the Italians in the qualifying final, or the quarterfinal round if you prefer. But only 7 shots combined against the USA and Canada in Group A action. Only 3 teams in Group A in this tournament because of the exclusion of the RPC. And the Canadians definitely, you would think, getting the kinder draw as that shot fired and maybe just touched off the blocker of Choi. That was Lahou with the effort. Carried by Choi. The Canadians still pussing around the Korean zone, even the third line, as Liam Hickey in defense again today, instead of playing as a forward as he did in Canada's first 2 contests. And now the puck sealed along the ice. Whistle does blow with 6:16 left in the second period.
The game's kind of slowed down a little bit ever since the Canadian penalty. Not quite as much urgency maybe to keep adding to the lead. Not to say they won't, but for those red jerseys sure are sharp up close.
Not quite so sharp from a distance, trying to identify player names and numbers, but I suppose they sell well in the Canadian gift shops online and elsewhere as the face-off draw one to the far wall by Bridges to Dunn. Dunn tries to center. Bridges looking for a fourth goal. He's hungry for more. Remains to be seen how long the Canadians will continue to pressure the Koreans as the puck won back on the doorstep. Dunn shoots it, played high, I think with a high stick, and no goal signal. It was a high sticking infraction, not a penalty called against the Canadians. But with 5:56 left in the second, short break coming up with the Canadians still leading South Korea by 7-0.
Now the goaltending switch happening for Korea. In comes Lee Jae-woong, the 25-year-old who was chosen as best goaltender in Pyeongchang 4 years ago. And if he has a good second half of the game, then wow, I didn't catch that first time around. Choi Hyuk-jun got away with a little bit of a slash there on his final moments of the of action.
A parting shot, you might say, but I guess it will depend. Interesting choice for Han Min-soo as to who will be the goaltender in presumably the bronze medal game. But Lee, 26 saves against the Americans, 31 saves against the Canadians. The South Koreans making that goaltending change that seemed imminent and now has been made. Lee Jae-woong between the pipes, relieving Choi Hyuk-jun as the Canadians dump in. Back to the puck, Choi Kwang-hyuk for South Korea, but Canada again intercepting. Choi, though, did well to regain his composure, bank the puck off the glass out through center ice. And that puck played from the wrong side of the red line, a very quick icing call.
Well, Han Min-soo was the coach, or at least the captain of the team that won bronze when that man was in net 4 years ago. So he must think that he's got the answer maybe for the rest of this game, and who knows, possibly the next one, whether that's the bronze or the gold. It would seem likely the bronze.
Face-off draw won by the Koreans. Choi Si-woo tried to center, but came off the sled of Armstrong. Now left in the corner for Jung Seung Hwan. Trying to find a passing angle. Might come here into a good position for Jang. The puck was on its edge, though. And so Jang couldn't make good contact on the attempted shot. Koreans dump back in. Might be Jang first to the puck near side corner, and it is. Trying to find Choi Si-woo on the drop pass. Choi in the corner. Rims around to the far side. Should be Choi Young-jae at the left point to keep in. He does, but gives the puck right away. And now an outlet. Oh, can they connect with the pass? It's a little bit slow, but Garrett Riley shoves the shot, and that's the first save of the game for Lee Jae-woong. Tangle below the goal line. Choi Si-woo patiently passing the puck forward to Choi Young-jae, beg his pardon. Now the reverse pass to Lee Jong-kyung, and a penalty coming up against the Canadians as Riley touches. With 4:22 left in the second, another 5-on-4 chance coming up for South Korea.
I almost wonder if Dominic Larocque doesn't mind this too much, because I think he wouldn't mind seeing a few shots before this game is over. Last thing you want to do is go through an entire game without getting a shot on goal. I mean, it shows that your team is playing great defense, but
looked like a slash there on Garrett Riley, and that is in fact the official signal from Jakob Grumsen, our Danish referee. Real honor for this refereeing crew. Most of them experiencing para ice hockey for the first time.
They played a game yesterday, actually, with the referees. They got out here on the off day, and they got the skates on and the sticks out.
So that save made along the ice a little bit casually by Lee Jae-woong. Well, maybe a chance shorthanded, trying to steal the puck, Zach Lavin, but Koreans can try and break forward. Over the line, Choi Kwang-kyuk. Pass a little bit too far for Jang Jong-ho, the Korean captain. And Dixon looking to clear and does saucer the puck down the ice.
It's a different game for the officials to officiate, slightly different pace, but also you got to be really careful because you could get undercut if you're not looking and a guy runs into you and he can take you right down.
I certainly know David Noteger, one of our linesmen in this game, the Austrian, who I've commentated on non-disabled hockey numerous times when he has been involved in European action. As Jang Jong-ho goes back, shifts the puck to Choi Kwang-kyuk with 46 seconds left on the slashing penalty to Garrett Riley. Koreans slowly through center ice, and the puck knocked on by Kim Young-sung. And I say slowly, it is pace. The biggest deficiency, I'd say, in the Korean team is that clearance right on target. Lee may be getting credit for another save. The South Korean team very much on the older side, toward the end of its shelf life, you would think, with only 2 players under the age of 30, but maybe a chance here for Jung-Seung Kwon. He shoots! Rising effort, stays out of the net. And the Canadian penalty kill dodges a bullet there. Cho Young-jae keeps it to line. He's got space and time to hold. Power play is over. Riley out of the box, but it's still Jung. Jung holding on his right hand. Flicks in front on the backhand, but high over the crease and to the near side wall. And the Canadian outlet pass finds Riley. Riley shoves toward the net. The blocker of Lee, I think, just making contact. With 2:02 left in the second. Choi Si-woo slows things down, and a collision there involving Jung-Seung Kwon. Canadians regain possession at center ice. Coming near side is Riley. Third forward line seeing plenty of action in the second period as Riley looking to center, but he's tangled between Lee Jong-kyung and Cho Young-jae. The flip out far side, just bouncing onward. Tyrone Henry has to backtrack quickly. It's the relative speed of Jung-Seung Kwon. Koreans a little bit more attack zone time, but the puck just not quite kept in. So the Koreans must vacate with 1:18 left in the second.
Not sure if we're going to get another look eventually at that shot.
Riley comes in left wing. Riley centers, but the deflection just away from Dunn.
One on Larocque. Not only does he realize it's in the top corner, and just he literally almost jumps in the air to try to stop that.
Was the first official shot on the net in the game, as that puck bounces just off the outside of the post, glancing below the goal line. So that was nearly the 8th Canadian goal. Pass far side to Dunn in the corner. Dunn onto Westlake. Westlake maneuvering against Kim Young-sung. Into the corner goes James Dunn again. 36 seconds in the period. Westlake. Dunn now sandwiched, tries to play in front. It comes through the blue paint. So the Canadians still hungry for more goals. But back to center goes Bridges. A rare moment of miscontrol as he then loses a tire. The Canadians also losing a stick, but here they come forward again. McGregor shoots, and the save along the ice. The puck is free, and eventually, well, it's still loose, and now finally covered by Lee as he couldn't quite reach out to cover it the first time of asking, but with 6.6 left in the second, Lee dodges another Canadian bullet.
Now we're going to see the chances on the other end of the ice in that most recent one by McGregor, who shoots with the left stick. That might have fooled Lee a little bit, and then he gets the right stick chance.
Good glove stop. He got that mitt up quickly. So one more Canadian face-off draw coming in the South Korean zone. One to the near side boards. McGregor the pass, and it's quickly backhanded out of harm's way by Choi Byung-shok as the horn sounds to end the second period. The Canadians with 3 goals in the first and 4 in the second. Bridges getting a hat trick. McGregor scoring. Westlake making it 7-0 after 30 minutes of action.
Another 16 shots on net again, only giving up 1. Just coming at Korea from all angles. Korea now 0 for 10 on the power play in the tournament. That's something they're going to want to fix in their next game, whatever that game is.
Certainly looks to be the bronze medal game, which will take place tomorrow. The Canadians seem to be peaking at just the right time in this para ice hockey tournament at Beijing 2022. They lead South Korea after 2 periods of play in the first semifinal by 7 goals to nothing. $16 more shots for Team Canada in the second period. It's now 32 shots to 1. The Koreans finally registering their first shot on goal from Jung Seung Hwan, but 0 for 2 on the power play and 0 for goals in the game. Canada romping, it appears, to the gold medal game at Beijing 2022. The para ice hockey tournament. Canada, can they find a second Paralympic gold medal?
Only 2 players on Team Canada have ever won Paralympic gold, and Billy Bridges is one of them, and Greg Westlake is the other. The others, a lot of the other players have tasted World Championship gold, but that's different. Let's look back at the second period highlights. James Dunn doing a great job protecting the puck, then finding Billy Bridges, and the all-time leading Paralympic point getter makes no mistake about it. Get used to seeing that. That was his second of the game. Just 15 seconds into the period, by the way. And the shots just kept coming against Choi Hyuk-jun. This time Dunn finds Bridges again. Same thing, ditto. Again, protecting the puck well. And again, an unguarded Bridges says, "You leave me alone, I'll get a hat trick." Liam Hickey has had a really nice contribution in this game. This time he does the setting up of the goal by McGregor. And the Canadian captain finishing well. This time the little tip by Westlake. Was also before the 5-minute mark of that period, and again Hickey was part of that as he continues to pile up the numbers in this game. This one went in the net, but it didn't count. Judged to be hit with a high stick. That high stick wasn't called. But we did see a goaltending switch after that. Canada did get a few more chances, but Korea did play better after they called the timeout and after they made the goaltending switch. Did manage to get 1 shot on the other end of the ice. This time it was still being covered up by Lee Jae-hwang, and it is still a huge lead. 7-0 Canada over Korea after 2 periods of play here in semifinal number 1.
15 minutes of para ice hockey remain between Canada and a fourth Paralympic gold medal game berth in the para ice hockey tournament here at Beijing 2022. And up and down the Canadian lineup, points galore. Billy Bridges, the hat trick. Tyler McGregor, 2 goals and 2 assists. Liam Hickey, 1 goal and 4 assists. A pair of assists each for Adam Dixon, James Dunn. Greg Westlake, a goal and an assist. And these red sweatered Canadians you see on your screen have dominated South Korea through 2 periods of hockey. They lead this game 7-0. They've outshot the Koreans 32-1. And it has been just as impressive as those statistics make it sound.
For Liam Hickey, I think a really important game as we see the Koreans getting ready to come on the ice for the third period. None of the Canadians played the way they really wanted to against Canada, and then he had to leave the game against Korea early. He was judged to have speared a player, got a game misconduct. So he really played one game and then a half a period or so, and really came out with all kinds of energy. They switched him back to defense so that he could play more, get on the ice more, and he's clearly relishing that role. He's been best defenseman at the World Championships before, so he has no trouble shifting into that role. So a big job by Jong-ho, the Korean captain, and his team, just to try to get some positive energy going before they play in the bronze medal game. Maybe get a couple goals here in the third period and shift the momentum.
Certainly feels like a long time ago, that 5-0 opening day defeat by the Canadians to Team USA. And Ken Babby helping his team grow in confidence into this playoff semifinal. There you see under the mask of Adam Kingsmill in goal for the Canadians. So both teams have now executed goalie changes.
Adam Kingsmill from Smithers, British Columbia, in his first Paralympic Games. So good to see him get some time in the Team Canada net.
Now lives in Calgary, just turned 22 last week, did Kingsmill. Part of the silver medal winning World Championship team last year. And so Dominic Leroy, just the one save on his stat sheet for this game, but I figure he will likely start the gold medal game and see a few more shots in that contest, no matter who Canada winds up facing. It would take a truly miraculous comeback for the Koreans here in the third period. But still 15 minutes left in this first para ice hockey semifinal. Koreans just about win the faceoff draw against Canada, but the Canadians pinch the puck and Riley dumps in. Back goes Jang Dong-shin for South Korea. And that clearance up the ice, in the way will be Hickey. Liam Hickey very impressive in defense, spun around there at center ice. There is a stick loose on the ice. I don't think it was Hickey's. He managed to retain both of his twigs. As you see the jostling right in front of the Korean bench area. And now Riley in deep to the South Korean zone. He's nominally a defenseman in this game, but he's showing his two-way credentials. Both ends of the ice impressing. And 5 points already in the game, and he wants more as the Koreans try and break out. The pass a little bit beyond Choi Si-woo. No icing, though, as forced to fetch is Hickey. Slightly sloppy there from Liam Hickey, as two Koreans able to try and pressure the puck below the Canadian goal line.
Yeah, not a textbook go back and retrieve, that's for sure.
Canadians, though, do scramble the puck free. And from a dead stop, Dunn, no forward momentum, passes to McGregor. Spinorama there at center ice. McGregor just away from Dixon with the pass. So again, the fluidity of the Canadian attack, with defensemen becoming forwards, forwards happy to help out in defense. Nearly a too many men on the ice penalty against the Canadians as they dump in. Play allowed to continue. Swooping in is Levine, or Zach Lavin, I should say. Koreans try to clear. Comes off the toe end of Armstrong's sled. Nice little behind the back pass by Choi Byung-shok, but nobody home to pick it up. And so McGregor, the Canadian captain, back at his own blue line. Tangle of sleds just inside the Canadian zone. The whipped pass far side. Tyrone Henry picks up. That's a good pass at center to Westlake. He's got support. Chance here for McGregor. McGregor shoots and scores! Tyler McGregor casually along the ice for his hat-trick goal. 2 Canadian hat-tricks in what is now an 8-0 scoreline.
Nice setup by Westlake on this play. And you'll see McGregor makes as if he's going to go high. Watch the little shoulder, and fakes, and then he just slides it on the ice. So just has the goaltender fooled. He's thinking they've been shooting high all game long. It's going to be high, got to be ready for high, and it's slow on the blocker side.
So McGregor now with 5 points in this game, 3 goals and 2 assists. Westlake, his 3rd point. Second helper, his assist alongside the first point of the game for Tyrone Henry at the 2:15 mark of the 3rd period. And 8-0. And the Canadians get to double figures at this stage. The puck behind the Korean goal. Dunn steals back. Chance maybe here. Save made though by Lee. Slow motion shot along the deck. And a relatively simple stop there to deny the shooting opportunity for Ben Delaney.
So the Canadians started the period with their 3rd line. They're just rolling the lines here. They're not trying to pile up the score on Korea, but they're just going to play their game, and whatever results.
You've only got 14 skaters in a game, or 13 skaters in a game, and so it's not that much depth to call upon. You have to keep your best players on the ice. It's not a question of sporting spirit or anything like that, as the Canadians again in possession. Puck dropped back off Armstrong to the front of the net, but Dunn just rolled behind him. And the Koreans able to get the puck down into the Canadian zone with 12:05 left in the 3rd. Bridges patiently waiting, dropping off far side for Henry to collect off the half wall. That's on. Bridges trying to regain possession, but Cho Young-jae banks off the backboards. Canada back in center ice to Hickey. Thought he'd spotted a gap. Hickey's going to zigzag his way toward the front of the net, but plays far to the corner. Dixon keeping at the left point and troubling Lee at the side of his net on the Korean goal. Canadians always seem to be just a moment away from another offensive chance as the pass from Hickey just away from Delaney, but again, Canada connecting passes in the Korean zone. Up top in space, there's Hickey. The high shot too high. Off the backboards, it's Park Sang-hyun. Hasn't seen a lot of ice time in the game, or indeed the tournament, as just raising his arms, the referee, Jakob Grumson, off that Korean clearance.
Yeah, Canadians just taking their time to get things started again on the offensive side. They just have had their way in every shift in this game, really.
Now 35 shots to 1 on the stat sheet. Puck again in the Korean zone. They're just trying to get out to center ice in possession. It's a tall order. Canada playing as aggressively and well as they have in this game. I think that came off the referee's skate. Might set up a Canadian chance, and they score from distance. I think it was Garrett Riley. Riley with his first point in the game, and it is 9-0 for Canada.
Garrett Riley's first goal of the tournament in his Paralympic debut. And again, it's along the ice. Here he has it top of the circle, little bit of traffic, but he sneaks it by on the short side. And the grin from ear to ear for Garrett Riley from Wayne Gretzky's hometown of Brantford, Ontario.
That goal reminds me so much of the goal that Emma Maltais scored for the Canadian women's team at the Olympics to make it 8-0 in the semifinal against Switzerland. It was her first goal of the tournament, and she celebrated by hopping up and down. Obviously, that's not something that Riley's going to do on his sled, but Riley, the broad grin and so happy to get his first Paralympic goal. And Canada one away from double figures. A target not reached by any team in this tournament thus far. Maybe trying to set down a marker ahead of the gold medal game as Armstrong back into the Canadian zone to McGregor. Nice interplay between Armstrong and McGregor. McGregor able to get some forward momentum to Armstrong again, trying to drop off for Lavin. Instead, the puck goes far side for Henry. Armstrong again. Lofted pass nearly bounced its way to McGregor, but the Koreans maybe a chance if only Choicy, who has enough pace. Can he get a shot off? He can, and it's sticked aside by Kingsmill. So that's the second Korean shot on goal in the contest, and maybe a third coming up. Nice passing maneuver, but nowhere to go for Jang Jong-ho, and so the Koreans, for once, able to string a couple of passes together, but here come the Canadians the other way. Lavin Lavin over the line, forced to divert 1-on-5. He was trying to plow a lone furrow there, so the Koreans regain possession, and it's knocked on by Jang Jong-ho. Nice and waved off, as back to fetch is Liam Hickey.
Well, this was the score 9-0 when USA gave up a scoring chance against Korea, and they scored. So Canadians really don't want that to happen. Not that they're terribly worried, but
nice poke there out to center ice by Ryu Ji-hyun for the Koreans with 8:47 left in the third. But Dixon sweeps the puck out. Here comes Bridges. Bridges unselfishly dropping the puck off, but the pass from Hickey maybe slightly overly elaborate there, the Canadian attack. And the chance on the doorstep. Can Lee find the puck? He can't yet. It's still loose. Referee in a perfect position, and now the whistle finally does blow. With 8:23 left in the third period, the Canadians piling on the goals against the Koreans. This first para ice hockey semifinal, it's 9-0 for Canada.
so Garrett Riley gets rewarded there. Maybe a bit of a surprise to see him shoot it. That's the only real reason you'd think that Lee Jae-hwang wouldn't have been ready. And if he might have been expecting something up high, but the Canadians have decided now they've gone up high early on. We're going to go down low here in the third. Both third period goals pretty much on the ice. McGregor and then Riley, and Billy Bridges has got a game going and a tournament going. Hat trick today, 6 points in the tournament. Tyler McGregor has now piled up 7 points. He led them in scoring last year at the World Championships, as he often does.
There was the Korean shot, second of the game. Choi Si-woo with that second Korean shot on goal in this game, but it's still 36-2 in shots, the Canadian advantage. And they get 37 as that puck fumbling its way into the mitts of Lee Jae-won.
Well, if you're Korean coach Han Min-soo, I don't think you have your answer so much, because you started Choi Hyuk-jun, and he played pretty well. And then you just eventually decide to switch to Choi Hyuk-jun. He's let in a couple goals, and they haven't all been great.
Lee, the younger of the two goalies, Lee Jae-won, now between the pipes for the Koreans. As the Canadians again, it's Jacobs Webb, the third line centering pass, and the shot didn't get through from Antoine Lahou. Lahou drops off for Jacobs Webb. Anton to Antoine, and that shot tipped high over the crossbar. And down went Lee Jong-kyung in the corner. A chance here, the shot from Lahou deflected wide of the target. It's still Lahou against Choi Kwang-hyuk defensively for the Koreans. Now back to the point, and Dixon. Dixon trying to regain the puck inside the blue line. He does. Slowly pivots. Look at that great stick handling. Dixon toward the net. The tip. They score! Wow. Jacobs Webb. It is the perfect 10 for Canada. The goals raining in to the Korean goal. And the Canadians do establish the widest victory margin in this tournament thus far. It's 10-0.
So much of that was about what Adam Dixon did at the blue line. Keeps the puck in, goes under his sled a couple times, and he sees Jacobs Webb there. It's not a shot on net, it's a pass. It's what we might call a slap pass. And Jacobs Webb just redirects it in, and Adam Dixon picks up yet another point. And he continues to do what he does, and that's strong and steady on the blue line, and points when needed.
Wasn't the cleanest connection on the score from Jacobs Webb, but he won't care. That his first career Paralympic goal. A 21-year-old from Montreal, and his first Paralympic Games, his second senior tournament after being part of the World Championship squad last year in Ostrava in the Czech Republic. It's perhaps worth noting here that Canada And the USA, although they are the #1 and #2 teams in the world right now, they haven't always dominated this sport the way that, say, the women's hockey teams of those two countries have done.
That's true, very true. Norway's been really good. Sweden's been really good. Japan made the final at the Vancouver Games. In fact, the U.S. has their 3 straight gold medals have been, as you know, against 3 different teams. So
Canada twice finishing 4th in para ice hockey at the Paralympic Games, back in Vancouver in 2010 and in Salt Lake City in 2002. They twice won bronze medals, twice silver, and can they win their 2nd gold this year? That is the question. The Americans appear to be the hot favorites, but things can change as the Koreans again hemmed in behind their own goal line. Jang Dong-shin unable to release. Puck slid along now behind the net for Cho Young-jae to pick up. Cho with 2 career Paralympic goals to his name, but no real shooting opportunities here in this contest against Canada. That long shot deflected off the back of Lee Jong-kyung. Canada still maybe a shooting opportunity. Lavin tries his luck, and that's a good pad save along the ice by Lee. With 5:43 left in the 3rd period, Canadians well on their way to the gold medal game. They lead South Korea by 10 goals to nothing.
you get a real different sense of the goaltending styles and the way the goalies are able to play. It's partly based on the disability and the way they can have the goalie pad. We saw earlier in the game the way Dominic Leroux kind of has it lying in front of the sled, and the way that Lee Jae-hwang plays. He has the goalie pad in front of him, and then when the play develops, he kind of goes down on his side and kind of does a pad stack to block the bottom of the net. There he is, Lee Jae-hwang. So he went 8 for 8 in the 2nd period, but he's allowed 3 goals on 7 shots here in the 3rd. You can see it there when he kind of flips onto that pad. He keeps it in front of him, and then he flips sideways when the play comes at him.
Just under 6 minutes left in the first semifinal at the Para Ice Hockey Tournament at Beijing 2022. And Team Canada couldn't have asked for more. They have gotten out of their team today. 10 goals and possibly more to come as Korean faceoff win sees the puck back to Kim Young-sung. But again, Canada centering, not connecting quite with that pass to McGregor. But Canada still on the march, trying to generate another chance here. A clash of sleds, and that'll result in the puck trickling under the mitts of Lee Jae-hwang. Smile on the face of Billy Bridges, and no wonder why.
Not a smile on the face of Han Min-soo, the head coach of Team Korea. I think he wants his team to be as good as they can be here in the 3rd period and try to draw some positives.
Face-off draw eventually grasped by Dunn. Dunn coming behind the net, some rough ice back there with all the pick marks on the surface. Hickey around the net. Ice really does take a beating in this sport. It's the centering effort, the touch by Dunn just trickled wide. Still Canada picks up again. Dixon toward the point, drops off for Dunn. Whirling dervishes, every Canadian player right now in the Korean zone. It's Delaney. Delaney to Bridges. Bridges, good pass. The tip attempt, though, for Dunn. Came wide to the near side boards. Bridges a quick stop.
It's not a power play, but it looks like one.
It certainly does, as Dixon again dropping off. Almost like a passing drill for the Canadians. Centering pass doesn't come off from Hickey, as Canada sneaks a couple of fresh skaters onto the ice. Drop pass didn't quite work there from Hickey. He'll fetch at the red line himself. Hickey decides to probe up the right wing. Hickey finds some space. Hickey shoots, the save made, the rebound's loose, crashing into the net. They're going to have a goaltender interference penalty, though, on Antoine Lehoux, as the touch is made by Jacobs Webb. 3:56 left in the third, and unfortunate there for the Canadians, who will now be shorthanded yet again in this game.
Yeah, he's not so sure about that call, as Antoine Lahou. Does he try to avoid the goaltender? Yeah, maybe not.
He's being nudged, though, by Choi Kwang-hyuk.
It's a tough call. It's a tough call, but it is 10-0.
That is true. And the Koreans, maybe they can get some more shots on goal. It's 41-2 for Canada in that department. I believe that's the most shots that any team has gotten on goal in any game in this tournament. USA maxed out at 39 shots against the Koreans in their second Group A game. As the interception by Jacobs Webb on the penalty kill tries to shove forward, the ricochet will come for Henry to knock onward. Cho Young-jae picks up. 1:32 left in the Korean 5-on-4. Slowly towards center ice, Lee Jong-kyung forced to divert his progress. Puck will trickle all the way down to Adam Kingsmill. He shoves to the near side wall, and Armstrong. Bobby Armstrong made his Canadian debut back in 2015 in Turin, site of the 2006 Para Ice Hockey Tournament. Far corner, the Canadians just keeping the puck in close quarters under the sled of Tyrone Henry. His father, Andrew, has served as the Canadian Director of Women's Para Ice Hockey in the country, as the Canadian clearance all the way down the ice, and 46 seconds left in the power play.
Yeah, that program is building. Both countries in North America are building the women's programs, and we hope it'll be soon that it will be women's hockey, para ice hockey at the Paralympic Games. Here they come again.
Short-handed, the Canadians dump in. One female player in this tournament, Yu Jing, the Chinese. She's seen ice time in only one of China's 4 games, and indeed, as the sport grows, great to have 2 tournaments here, future Paralympic Games. With that short-handed effort on target, save made. Hickey denied by Lee Jae-wong. And play allowed to continue with 2 minutes left in the third period, and the Korean power play just about over. In fact, right there is Antoine Lahou back out on the ice. Koreans come forward, but a good bump there, slowing down Park Sang-hyun. Choi Kwang-hyuk plays to center, but picked off there by Lavin. He was spun around. Koreans just about salvaging the puck through Jung Seung Hwan, but Canada once again, soft flip toward the near side corner. Clock ticking down towards the Canadian gold medal berth. Very impressive performance by the team in black and red. As Westlake drops back to McGregor. McGregor twirling around the near side wall. Gets into a shooting position if he wants to fire, and he does, but it's high over the crossbar. Cho Byung-shak loses out. The Canadians again with 58 seconds left in the contest. McGregor drops off to Westlake. Westlake centers, but just beyond Lavin. Lavin crunched by a Korean sled, but still Canada the chance in front. Oh, it's right on the doorstep. They score! Tyler McGregor, his 4th goal of the game. And it's Canada 11, South Korea nothing.
And no celebration on the Canadian side, just go about your business. But McGregor left alone, picks up the loose puck, goes left stick to right, under the sled, so slick, so talented. Bingo, bango, bongo, into the net.
Unlucky for Jang Dong-shin, the Korean player who the puck came off of to find McGregor, almost apologetically scoring his 4th of the game with 41.4 seconds left on the clock.
It's a little concerned that we hadn't seen Greg Westlake in a long time, but he was on that shift and he looked perfectly fine. So
McGregor from Henry and Lavin. Lavin, his first point of the game, the assist on the Canadian goal. Got the 43rd Canadian shot on target as Choi drops off Almost 1 shot per minute in this game, the 45-minute periods, as the third Korean shot fired on target from Kim Young-sung. No trouble there for Kingsmill. Again, on in relief of Dominic Larocque in the Canadian net. 10 seconds left. Canada tries one last attack, but Kim, the interception, the dump in, and Canada so smooth and very impressively defeating South Korea in the first para ice hockey semifinal, 11 goals to nothing. The final margin, Canada into their 4th para ice hockey gold medal game at Beijing 2022.
The 11-0 is impressive. The 43-3 shots margin is equally as impressive. And Canada gave up virtually no good scoring chances on their own end. Absolutely dominant on the other end. Hat trick for Bridges, 4-goal game for McGregor. I think that Hickey had at least 5, maybe 6 points. Try to add them up in a hurry. But they got contributions from all over, up and down the lineup. Just a really dominating performance by Canada. Their best game of the tournament by far.
3 in the first, 4 in the second, 4 in the third. Canada through to the gold medal game at Beijing 2022. There is the final stat sheet, 43-3 in shots on goal. The Canadians sneaking a power play goal in 9 seconds of power play time on a very short power play back in the first period. They dominated in face-offs. They might need to clean up the penalties a tiny bit, but that's the only slight flaw in this game for Team Canada. 11-0 winners over South Korea in the first para ice hockey semifinal. An incredibly impressive performance seen by the Chinese fans at the National Indoor Stadium. Team Canada 11, the Republic of Korea nothing. A score of the first para ice hockey semifinal. Tyler McGregor 4 goals and 2 assists. Billy Bridges a hat trick. Liam Hickey 1 goal and 4 assists. Up and down the Canadian roster, points galore, and they have found their best form just in time for that gold medal game coming up in 2 days' time. Canada, not sure who they're going to face yet, but they will be a very formidable obstacle for whoever they do come into contact with. Canada, so good, so smooth, and so powerful. They have made it to the para ice hockey gold medal game.